I didn't have particularly high expectations going into Frontier in Space, as it seems to be an episode that doesn't get all that much discussion, but from what I have heard about it, I suspected it would be a bit of an uneventful, average affair, possibly as boring as Colony in Space. What I found upon watching this story was that it was thoroughly entertaining throughout. While the serial may not have done anything particularly revolutionary, it handles everything that it's doing rather well, and it has enough elements that it's playing with throughout its 6 parts to the point where I never felt bored. The story starts off with Joe and the Doctor arriving on a spaceship, and pretty quickly, what they find is that there is something creating a sound, and this sound affects the way that the person who hears it perceives the world. In fact, it makes them see just a normal human being as something that they fear.
Oh, how do you do? I'm sorry about this intrusion. Who are you? I said, how do you do? Dragons! Drop that gun. Gun? I haven't got a gun. This is simply my hand.
So if this device were used on you, then you would look at me, a relatively normal human being, I suspect, and see something terrifying, which hopefully isn't me. Now this naturally gets our TARDIS duo into a little bit of trouble, and the story takes off from there. So throughout this one, there's a lot of space politics happening, and frankly, it's all handled quite well. The titular frontier in space is between humans and Draconians, but Orgons are using this sound in order to make the humans believe that they are Draconians. Now, I genuinely really like this idea. I think it's very interesting and altogether is handled rather well. There are some actually engaging space politics within this that I found myself really getting wrapped up in. Basically, the Doctor and Joe just find themselves in trouble, and that's where the story goes from. I think that this is mostly a pretty well-paced adventure. I know some people are going to disagree with me on this, and in truth, it probably could have been 4 or 5 parts long, but there was no specific episode that I felt dragged, as I thought the whole thing was captivating. Also, I'll note that the Doctor and Joe are a ton of fun together, and they absolutely make this episode what it is.
How's it
going? You up? That's it. Oh, how very embarrassing. Good afternoon.
Now, I'm going to get a little bit more into spoilers. None of them are too heavy, but I'm going to touch on where our characters get to further in the episode and certain reveals that you may not want to know about if this is an episode that you haven't seen. So feel free to skip the time as shown on screen if that concerns you, but if not, let's keep discussing this episode. So it doesn't take long before the Doctor ends up in jail for a hot minute, and I really enjoyed the scenes in there. The character called Professor Dale, he was only around for 2 episodes, which was effectively 1 episode, but I grew surprisingly attached to him, and I really enjoyed him as a presence, so it is a bit of a shame that he wasn't around for very long, because it's not often in Classic Who that I find a supporting character that I actually quite enjoy, so for one to just be in this for only really 1 episode is a shame because he definitely could have been around for longer, but I enjoyed the presence that we got from him.
After the stupidity of the Draconian War, the bitterness eventually died down and we had many years of peace. There were trade treaties, cultural exchanges, and then, for no reason at all, these sudden acts of hostility.
Also, side note, I really like the cliffhanger at the end of part 3 for this one. A lot of the times with Classic Who, the cliffhangers are super forced, and I have to sort of overlook them, but that one was actually quite solid.
The door, it's locked.
Listen.
They're depressurizing. Don't you understand, man? They're pumping out the air.
So pretty soon the Master actually shows up and takes the Doctor and Joe prisoner, and that was another really enjoyable episode. I loved seeing the Doctor escape and do the Wally maneuver about 35 years before Wally. That was pretty cool. And the story continues with everybody going to the Draconians' home world, and then I believe they head to the Orgons' home world. I could be wrong about that last one. Basically, the story heads around the universe quite a lot, and I had a lot of fun seeing it do so. You go to all of these different locations, and it's fun to just watch these characters that I really enjoy go to all of these different places, get involved with these space politics, and just have a lot of stuff happening. Sure, there are parts where it could have been better balanced, but I like a lot of what we get in this one. One highlight I would like to mention is Roger Delgado as the Master. It was about a year since he had been in Doctor Who at this point, and this would sadly be his final appearance in the role. It is a shame that he passed away, and additionally, it is unfortunate that he never got the opportunity to return to the role of the Master, but with that said, I do really enjoy his appearance in this story, and I really enjoyed Roger Delgado's performance.
Oh, by the way, I need hardly warn you, there is no point in trying to escape. This is an interplanetary police spaceship, specially built for carrying prisoners, as you can see.
Stolen, of course.
Of course.
There's also a great scene at the very end of episode 5 where the Master attempts to use mind control on Jo, but this time it doesn't work.
You will obey me. I am
Mary had a
master.
little lamb, his fleece was white as snow, and everywhere that Mary ran, the lamb was sure to go. Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall, Humpty Dumpty had a great fall.
Stop that, Miss Grant. I was never very fond of nursery rhymes anyhow.
Then you'll just have to give up all hope of hypnotizing me, won't you? Once was quite enough, thank you.
That was a scene that I really enjoyed. I thought it was a nice bookend to those two, referencing the first time that they encountered one another, so I really appreciated that.
Your instructions are already implanted. You will obey them without a further word from me.
I shall obey.
Good.
Overall, this is just a really enjoyable and fun serial that I had a blast with, and I thoroughly enjoyed the cast of characters within the story, be it main or supporting. This one never stops having fun, going to different locations and moving the story to a different place in a way that is just a joy to watch. This is a really enjoyable serial, and I'm going to give Frontier in Space a rating of 8 out of 10. If you join me again this coming Sunday, then I'll be bringing you another ranking for Doctor Who. At the time of recording, I have no idea what that is, but you can check back next Sunday to find out. So, what did you think of Frontier in Space? Do you agree with me? Is this a solid story, or do you perhaps find it to be a bit uninteresting? Be sure to let me know down below if you feel like doing so, and I hope to see you around again next time for a ranking video. But if not, that is totally cool, so long as you know that I appreciate your time here today. And with that said, that's going to do it for now, folks. Thank you very much for watching. Take care, and have a lovely week.